So one thing, let me premise this. Let me set up what we're doing today by saying, recently, have we noticed that in this unit, even the first day we were doing some complex numbers, we noticed that complex numbers, when we multiply by complex numbers, it performs for us a rotation. Did you see that? Or when we add complex numbers, it's actually addition in the complex plane, and that translates to translation, right? So the sense that like complex numbers have the ability to do different transformations, but also so did matrices. And we had this interpretation before of like vectors, and from geometry, we have all these different ways of viewing transformations. And we'd like to tie them all together right now. Okay. So let's start by just writing out what these are. And I know this looks really complicated, but this is like a 10-second activity. So a complex number has a real and imaginary part of 3 and -5. So what's the complex number we're talking about?
3 minus 5.
Good. How would you write this point, 3, -5, as a vector to that point? I don't know. There are a couple different notations we use, but you might use angle brackets. Right? And what about as a column matrix? Recently, as we were doing some matrix stuff, we often wrote them that way, right? So what are the relative advantages of these different techniques? I mean, obviously, there's really no advantage to any of them, but they all represent in some way the same point, the same idea in space. What might be an advantage of one of these? Pick one of them and say what it kind of makes you think of. What lens does it put on the situation, even though they all convey kind of the same information? They all have a different flavor, at least.
Well, the matrix, like, makes sort of like a parallelogram, like an actual two.
Yeah, like maybe the corner of okay.
The line.
Yeah, yeah.
The vector kind of helps you visualize it as a point, like.
Okay.
You can see that like if the y value is negative, so like the imaginary part would be down, and then like the 3's positive would be +4.
Yeah, sure. And it also, vector kind of to me means kind of communicate some kind of maybe motion or something like that. And the 3 minus 5i, I don't know what. I think originally you probably didn't have a geometric lens on that at all. So maybe that, like these, you might think of as numbers. This you might think of still in your mind. You might call that a number, right? And so you have the sense that this is like a one number thing. It's an algebraic object in your mind, maybe still. You don't maybe think of it as very geometric. We can now visualize them, but they all have kind of a little bit of a different flavor. So let's now play around with this idea of talking about a transformation from R to R, from R2 to R2. We've done a couple of these kinds of things recently. With points back in geometry, you might have pictured this way. So think about where these points go and draw them on this next page. What are we doing here? What transformation is occurring? Can we write the words down? That's the only thing left for you to do on here, and draw the picture. With complex numbers, do you agree that this is how you would represent it? Or with vectors, or with matrices, you could kind of conceive of these. It's really just cosmetic, but just different ways of conceiving of the same thing that's happening. So, what is the transformation here? Does someone share? What's going on with the points? What do we do to A, B, C, and D? What do we do to these points? Yeah.
Reflect over the x-axis. Y-axis, and then translate it up to units.
Yeah, so do that to these points and label them A prime, B prime, C prime, D prime. So A will go to here, and then reflected and moved up. So there's A prime. B goes, reflect and then move up to here. So there, B prime. Yeah? Just apply these points. So if you have C is 1, 1, so where does it go? It goes to -1, 3. There's C prime and D prime. All right, so this, as you can see, this packet is going to be done in just like 3 or 4 minutes. You're going to be done with the whole packet. Okay? Go ahead and work on the next pages. Let's keep in mind as we do this, the unit square we're looking at is either, you could think about it as most recently we've called that 0, 1, I, and 1 plus I for C here. 1 plus it, right? But more, just even somewhat recently, we were thinking about those as these vectors, or at the very end of the last unit, we talked about these as being like the column matrices here, right? So I just want to tie these things together. So go ahead and do for each one of these, there's some missing things. You need to draw the picture. You need to label it A prime, B prime, C prime, D prime. You need to fill in all the transformations using this new notation. Okay. And we'll call on some people to do those in a minute here. Yeah, you can help. That'd be great. So that trash bag is there. Go give this cookie to someone.
I remember him fondly, like he was only 3 years. I wonder how Ken can save.
Yeah, so he's not like big brother.
All right, let's get some people up here to do these.
Oh my god, there's still so much apple pie. I think I'll eat all of it.
Where's the crown for the third?
Can you grab a blue stick out of that cup right there?
You guys mind, Jasmine? You were
Oh, it's me!
Wait, no, it's my brother. No. Okay, because he bought them in my bag.
Jasmine picked herself. Okay, that's good.
All right. Okay.
Oh my
Wait, don't they already give it to us on this
Gotta
one?
get some more food.
Grace.
Number 3?
Apple pie with the
What?
I said Grace, not
What?
I don't.
Good man.
I low-key feel like this is wrong.
How do you guys agree with Jasmine here? You guys like what she's doing?
Go Jasmine, I always like what Jasmine. Aw.
Wait, hold up. Draw the picture too.
Oh, yeah, thanks. I didn't draw mine. Yum, or delicious. I love apple pie. That's weird. But if you eat a billion orange, I am not really good at this.
Hey, what up?
I feel like I did this wrong, but I didn't.
That was the most disgusting thing I've ever eaten.
All right. Any thoughts about that one? Are we good on that?
Which one? Grace, you have so much over you.
Here, I mean, we might use the notation of the, 1 point maps to the other point or whatever and all that. Yeah. x minus 1. I mean, isn't that what you're doing to the x coordinate? You're subtracting 1? Well, if you're asking what will the function do, then I mean, we haven't learned how the function gets here, right?
So, if it's left, it's minus 2.
Yeah. Yeah. Come do this one too. When you're ready. Number 4.
I'm ready.
Keep going, keep going. Do the whole thing. It should take us, the whole thing should take us not more than a couple minutes here.
Okay, Lynn, I'm leaving you. Thank you.
These are pretty quick. I know there's a lot of paper in front of you, but they're pretty quick. Well, because you want to.
Oh, you skipped stat? Right. I should have skipped stat.
I'm retiring until next year, Pi Day. Yum. Mr. Cheese, give me that. Mr. Cheese, that's the tie you wore a few days ago. You said you had the best pie tie on Pi Day.
You better track.
Kevin, are you gonna finish that before process? No, Kevin.
I don't know why I said that because the next goes over there.
You're finished clothing these, but someone just asked for homework. We're finishing all
Oh,
for
so I
homework.
didn't even look up.
I assume you'll finish this before class, but finish it all for homework tonight, whatever things you don't do.
Yum, I love Mr. Cheese, I'm not going to be here tomorrow.
There's no bookwork tonight, it's just these two.
No bookwork?
packets.
So I'll just show you them on Friday.
Don't have to open up that text.
Yeah, there's on the sheet says 9 and 10.
Sitting
Like on
down.
the same.
This is such a fun day.
How did Kayla do?
Fantastic.
Look at what she's got
Good
for
job,
us.
Caitlin.
Thank you.
When you're done staring at it, I will turn to the next one. Let's get,
Kevin.
Anya, you want this one? The last one here? Or number 5? You want number 5?
But he has a very happy person.
When you're ready.
You know what?
Which way is it?
My
Is it
mistake.
y or x or
I was like, I feel like
negative y?
Just change the whole thing. Wait, right? Pencil inside my food.
Good.
That's called lab handwriting. He typed that.
this is the 7th period of the day. 7th period. 7th period. That's why I'm not going to do that. Yeah. Rotation is when you do like -1 on
Underneath the primary rotation, I think it's just like for a regular thing. Does that just mean you like reflect it over the y-axis?
Chocolate.
I was thinking that
It's about taste, but it's also about how fast you can do it. You know? Really, the options are like lemon meringue or chocolate.
Who is the lime?
You're not going to go like a cherry pie.
The lime on the one chocolate's like
Well, I don't know, lemon meringue pie is...
Oh,
I don't know, I go back and forth with chocolate and lemon.
wait, but isn't Key West on the top
Chocolate.
Key
No. Key lime would be easy to eat, but I just don't care.
Yeah.
What about rock lime?
like
90 miles.
It's the western end of the
They have nice Cuban sandwiches.
What's the record for most high? What's the record for most high?
Well, it's not a number of pies. Everyone gets a quarter of
Oh,
it.
okay. So what's the record for most?
Oh, I don't know. It's a good question. We could look at the footage.
Oh, no, you're right.
This child won't be able to see it.
Maybe not. Isn't that just
I think this is right. I didn't know. Did you think I just opened my mouth and made that noise? Yeah, I'm trying to I'm pretty sure this is bad.
I'm gonna get fat if I eat that. I want to know I'm underweight.
half a donut on food myself is I'm gonna throw this half a donut away.
I can't even finish it. Does anyone want my Oreos?
Negative what?
Alright, are we good on that one? Who will do the rotation? You want you can fight over it.
Yeah, but you already did one today.
Shoot. Oh yeah, that's true. You already did the warm up.
That's what I thought.
Alright, hey guys, the bell is just about to ring. So hopefully we got, is this the last page, right? This is the last page. So we're basically done with that first packet. You're starting to get used to how these go.
Why is it shaking?
I don't know. Number, the next one, the next packet is then, I guess, your homework. Right? We basically did this one completely. So finish that other one if you can. Do your best to interpret what it's asking, and we'll pick up from there tomorrow. How did Aiden do? Did he get it right, everybody?
I didn't finish yet.
Check him on it. Can't believe that guy. You don't know. Happy Pie Day, everybody. Happy Pie Day. Eat some more pie tonight. It's good for you. Okay? I'll be having a pie tonight for sure. For sure. Let's make sure trash gets in the trash bag here. Trash bag. Trash.
Thank you, everyone. I'd like to thank all my fans. I'd like to thank Mr. Chase for his continuing support. And I'd like to thank Brandon for all he's done for me.
And I'd like to thank Aiden for being my best student.
That's what I thought.
Say hi, Mom. Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom. I like Mr. Chase. He's a good teacher.